Let's go to London now. Joining us is commentator Josh Rom. Josh, a lot happening over in London. Your Prime Minister doesn't seem to have much time at all. Author JK Rowling is among plenty of others demanding that Keir Starmer is removed as Prime Minister. She wrote, from his newfound concern for victims of Mandelson's bestie to whether women can have penises and his U-turn on the Rotherham grooming gangs inquiry, Starmer out. Josh, bring us the latest from the UK. Will Starmer be gone by the end of the week?
Well, it seems not. And can I just say, first and foremost, good evening from London. I am slightly concerned because I find myself agreeing with Diane Abbott this week and her assessment of the crisis, which is very unusual and disconcerting to me. But her assessment is bang on. I think at the moment, Sir Keir Starmer is trying to evoke a sense of stability. He has vowed to fight on. He's vowed to keep on working. He said in these words, "I will not walk away." However, I think he is one of the most unpopular prime ministers in history at the moment, according to opinion polls. I think the consensus is although he's managed to hold on, his cabinet all have come out in support of him temporarily, I should add. And then we've got backbenchers such as Angela Rayner coming out in support of him, despite the fact that Angela Rayner's webpage for new leader of the Labour Party kind of made a surprise appearance very briefly, or should I say surprise, quote unquote, appearance. So he seems to be holding on to, at least superficially, the support of his party, because I think none of them want the poison chalice. Now, there is going to be a by-election coming up. And that could potentially be very punishing for Labour. So I think the Labour Party, the parliamentary party, wants to see how they do there. Then we've also got the kind of what's been dubbed as the midterm elections, the local elections coming up in May, especially in Scotland and Wales, which are due to be very punishing for Labour. So we're kind of in this position where Sir Keir Starmer, he's holding on for the time being by the skin of his teeth because no one from his party wants to step up and have the poison chalice just yet. But I highly doubt post-May, if the elections results really are as bad for Labour, I doubt that Sir Keir Starmer will get his wish and be the next Labour leader to lead that party into the next general election.
Yeah, the clock is ticking, that is for sure. Let's talk about the royal news. King Charles saying that he'll support police in their investigation into Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, his brother, over those links with Jeffrey Epstein. The King, of course, has been under a lot of pressure, Josh. What's going to happen here?
Well, there's been pressure from a lot of things. Actually, I want to treat this a little bit as confession time, because you probably may have seen video clips of the King being heckled in walkabouts. And usually this is usually a good kind of way to measure public appearance about the public opinion about certain royal scandals, whatever. But what I would say to when we look at footage like that, I want to take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt, a little bit of skepticism. Because I also know that there are fringe Republican organizations that are effectively planting hecklers in those specific walkabout places in order to purposely distort the narrative and create trouble and kind of attempt to stir up Republicanism sentiment. And we see this actually because a lot of the crowds who do show up to see the King on these walkabouts are actually big monarchists, big royalists that are actually delighted to see the King and Queen, and actually are the same ones saying shut up or boo or get out of the way, go home, because they want to see the King in a nice environment. So I will say treat some of the walkabout footage with a little bit of skepticism. However, there has been pressure for the royal family to do more when it comes to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. And this week I've been asking a few commentators on Twitter, what more can the royals do? There is no HRH title, no patronages, no royal duties, no public role. He was practically evicted from his huge mansion. He's now only living a very quiet life away from the public eye that's going to be privately funded by his brother. But now the king is also saying, bearing in mind there has been an extremely pointed shift this week when it comes to the statements. And the king said in the statement, or effectively the palace have said, the king has made clear in words and through unprecedented actions, again emphasizing the unprecedented actions, taking the very title of prince away from Andrew, the title that was effectively his birthright, away from him, and saying his profound concern at allegations that which continue to come to light in respect of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. And effectively saying, yes, they'll cooperate with the police, Thames Valley Police, again, investigating Andrew due to a complaint made by a Republican organisation, a specific Republican organisation trying to stir up trouble for the royal family there. But this is an unprecedented shift, even though he didn't necessarily ever mention the word Epstein explicitly by name in the statement. We know the attitude of the palace now is very explicit towards Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and that is, you are now on your own. You are no longer protected by the royal family. You are no longer protected by Buckingham Palace. You have no role in the firm. You have no role in the institution. If it comes to extradition, we are not going to stand in the way. And that is effectively the message that the palace is wanting to evoke now, because as much as it is, the public is disgusted by Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, they are. The palace, I would say, yes, there has been a certain lack of transparency throughout the process, and questions are being asked, who knew what, when, even questioning the late Queen. Unfortunately, well, we know she has a bit of a blind spot when it came to her favourite son. But the palace now is basically through, as they're trying to emphasise, through these statements, through these quote unquote unprecedented actions, that there is a zero tolerance approach when it comes to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor now.
And do you think we're going to hear more from Princess Catherine and Prince William? Of course, they released that statement saying that they're deeply concerned by the revelations and their thoughts are with the victims, Josh.
Well, what I found very interesting is they are, of course, undergoing a state visit to Saudi Arabia now. So they didn't want anything to overshadow or be in the background of this visit. So they were very proactive in releasing this statement first before His Majesty the King. And usually, of course, when it comes to stuff like this, usually you would think the king is the one to, the king obviously would take precedent as the more senior member of the royal family, as the head of the institution, as the head of the firm. But actually, I would say, look at Prince William and Prince Catherine. They're the ones actively taking the proactive approach. They're the ones that are saying, we are concerned about the continuing revelations and the thoughts remain with the victims. And actually, that statement, it was 2 or 3 lines. It was short. I don't want to say sweet, because there's nothing sweet about this crisis. This is, I would say, the biggest crisis facing the royal family since Charles and Diana back in the 90s, and definitely since the abdication back in 1936. However, the Prince and Princess of Wales are very keen to kind of position themselves, so it seems, through their actions, as we are the future. The king is doing what he wants to do, and they're funding Andrew through private means. That's fine. And again, they kind of have no choice there. You know, Andrew, he can't exactly earn money now. What company is going to hire him? It's all well and good saying, and I've said this on the programme before, get a job. But he can't do that. There is no feasible possibility. So, of course, he's kind of the responsibility in terms of at least housing. And if the royal family wants to keep him away from public life, then they need to make sure those procedures are effectively put in place. But the Prince and Princess of Wales being very proactive with their statement, especially before their state visit. And actually, a lot of people in the country at the moment, they're kind of viewing the king, I would say, with a little bit of apathy. But I think people know that the Prince and Princess of Wales are very much the future of the monarchy. And I think I can tell from their actions that Prince William and Princess Catherine, they definitely have that at the forefront of their mind.
Josh Rom, all the way from London, thank you so much for joining us, bringing us the latest. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Gabriella.